There's a method working its way across the internet right now that skips the reps entirely and just asks your muscles to hold still. It's called isometrics, and Shaolin monks used a version of it to build strength that held up for a lifetime. The kind of strength that lasts comes from refusing to move at all, not from chasing more reps. The first hold on this list is the overcoming isometric push, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You plant your hands against something that will never move. A door frame or a squat rack pin works fine, and you push into it as hard as you possibly can. There's no range of motion and nothing to count, only maximum output against something that refuses to give. Get your hands set at chest height and brace through your whole body like you're trying to move a wall that weighs 1,000 pounds. Push for time instead of reps. 10 seconds of real effort here recruits more muscle fibers than a full set of push-ups, because your nervous system has no choice but to call in everything you've got the second it realizes nothing is going to give. And that's exactly why this one builds strength so fast. When a muscle can't shorten or lengthen, your body compensates by firing every fiber available at once instead of spreading the work out over a full range of motion. That's the kind of tension your shoulders and chest rarely get asked for anymore, and it's part of why pushing open a heavy door, shoving a stuck window, or pushing yourself up out of a low chair without rocking for momentum can suddenly feel harder than it used to. 3 rounds of 8 to 10 seconds is enough to feel this the next day. Rest for a full minute between each one because the intensity here does more damage to recover from than people expect walking in. But pushing isn't the only place this method builds strength that most people have let go quiet. There's a stance monks used to hold for minutes at a time, and it exposes your legs in a way nothing else on this list will. It's ended more strong lifters' egos than they'd like to admit. This is the horse stance, the exact position that built leg strength strong enough to outlast men twice their size. Drop into a wide squat with your feet turned slightly outward and your knees tracking over your toes. Then settle your thighs as close to parallel with the ground as you can hold without your form breaking down. Keep your spine tall instead of leaning forward and let your weight settle evenly through both feet like you're rooted into the floor. Somewhere around 30 seconds in, your legs are going to start shaking. And that shake is your body recruiting muscle fibers it almost never gets called on to use during normal walking or standing. Holding a squat under constant tension builds a layer of leg strength that reps alone can't reach because there's no bottom of the movement to rest at and no top to recover on the way up. There's also a reason this hold pairs so well with the exercise still ahead in this list, the one that works your entire backside instead of your front, because once your body starts adapting to tension instead of just movement, that adaptation carries forward into everything else you hold still for. That's why climbing a full flight of stairs without your knees complaining, or crouching down to grab something off the floor and standing back up without needing your hands for support starts to feel noticeably easier after a few weeks of this. Hold for 3 rounds of 30 to 45 seconds, resting a full minute between each one. Your entire backside gets its turn now. The Superman hold is responsible for it, but don't let the friendly name fool you into thinking it's easy. Lie face down on the floor and lift your arms straight out in front of you and your legs straight out behind you, then raise everything off the ground at the same time until only your stomach and hips are touching down. Squeeze through your lower back, your glutes, and your shoulders like you're trying to pull yourself into one long line from fingertips to toes. 15 to 20 seconds of holding this position lights up the entire chain of muscle running along your spine. The same chain that's responsible for keeping you upright all day without you ever thinking about it. Most workouts train the front of the body obsessively and leave this chain untouched entirely, which is part of why so many people carry tension in their lower back without knowing why. Building real strength through this chain changes how your back feels standing at a counter, sitting at a desk, or bending down to tie your shoes, because the muscles holding you upright finally get asked to do the job they were designed for. Hold for 3 rounds of 15 to 20 seconds, and rest closer to 90 seconds between rounds since this one asks a lot from a small area. So these first 3 holds already cover a lot of ground most training programs miss entirely, building real strength through your push, your legs, and the chain running along your spine that keeps you upright all day. And that's kind of what FitZip is about, cutting through the noise and giving you the stuff that actually moves the needle. Most programs are built around the muscles you can see and skip the small stabilizers that hold everything else together. That's exactly why so many people build strength in one area and still feel stiff, achy, or like their body is quietly breaking down somewhere else. I created the Reset Your Body Blueprint, and it's the foundation program built around those overlooked muscles that get ignored. Aging has less to do with getting older and everything to do with what happens when we stop moving certain ways and let those stabilizers go quiet on us. If you want a body that can keep doing the exercises and activities you love for years to come instead of slowly breaking down, There's a QR code on the screen for you to scan with your phone, or check the link in the description below the video. Alright, let's get into the fourth isometric hold. Grip strength quietly disappears faster than almost anything else in the body, and this hold is the fastest way to find out how much of yours is left. It's called the isometric pull-up hold, and it targets your back and forearms in a way nothing else on this list touches. Find a bar you can hang from, pull yourself up until your chin clears the bar, and then simply stop there and hold. No lowering under control and no extra reps, just staying exactly at the top of the pull for as long as your grip and your back will allow. 15 seconds here is brutal in a way full pull-ups rarely are, because holding the hardest point of the movement forces your back and your grip to fire at full output together instead of trading off through a range of motion. That's the layer of strength behind carrying heavy bags in from the car, or hauling a suitcase through an airport without your grip giving out halfway there. The mistake almost everyone makes here is letting their shoulders creep up toward their ears the second their arms start to fatigue, which shifts the load off your back and onto your neck instead. Pull your shoulder blades down and back the entire time you're holding, like you're tucking them into your back pockets, and the tension stays exactly where it belongs. Most pull-ups rush straight through the top on the way back down, which means the exact position where your back and biceps work hardest rarely gets trained on its own. Holding there on purpose closes that gap, and it's part of why isometric holds tend to push pull-up numbers up faster than full reps alone. There's one hold in this list that flips your whole body upside down, and it asks your shoulders for a kind of strength nothing else here can replicate. If a full hold feels out of reach right now, loop a resistance band over the bar for support, or use a lower bar with your knees bent so your feet stay on the ground while holding the same top position. 3 rounds of 10 to 15 seconds is plenty to start, resting close to 90 seconds in between since grip fatigue lingers longer than people expect. Your body flips completely upside down for this one. Meet the handstand hold against the wall. It sounds intimidating, but done against a wall, it's more accessible than people assume. And it might be the single hardest thing on this list for building real shoulder strength. Walk your feet up a wall until your body is fully vertical, hands planted firmly on the floor and your arms locked straight. Then hold that position with your hips stacked directly over your shoulders. Keep pressing the floor away from you the entire time instead of letting your body sink into your joints. Even 10 seconds here forces your shoulders to support your entire body weight in a position they rarely get asked to hold. And that kind of loading builds a level of shoulder stability that carrying, lifting, and pushing overhead all depend on. It's the difference between shoulders that feel solid, reaching into a high cabinet, and shoulders that start to ache the moment you lift something over your head. Spread your fingers wide and press firmly through your fingertips instead of letting your weight collapse into your wrists, since sloppy hand positioning here is one of the fastest ways to end up with sore wrists instead of stronger shoulders. Keep your gaze down toward the floor rather than craning your neck to look forward, which keeps your spine in a safer, more neutral position for the entire hold. Once your shoulders can handle real body weight loading upside down, pressing something overhead stops feeling like it's testing your limits. Lifting a suitcase into an overhead bin or setting a box on a high shelf starts to feel like something your body was always built to do instead of something you brace for. If a full vertical hold feels too advanced right now, start with your feet up on a couch or a low step instead of a wall, holding the same shape at a lower angle until your shoulders build the strength to go higher. 3 rounds of 10 to 15 seconds is a strong starting point, resting a full 2 minutes between rounds since this one taxes your shoulders and your nervous system together. And if you want the foundational program that lets you do the things you love for the long haul, then go grab the Reset Your Body Blueprint in the description below.